Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. President. Hello, everybody.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, how has it been from the last time we met?
Oh, yeah, it's been fine.
And
Thank you.
okay,
Honestly, for me, I had a health challenge within the week, so I couldn't go through this thing. I'll go through this class and then I'll follow up with the videos and see how I can link up.
okay, it's okay, it's perfect. And anytime you're following through and you have issues, you can let us know. We are always happy to help out.
Okay, thank
Um,
you, sir.
yeah. Is anybody who wants to give a feedback about the last class and how their week has been? Okay, I can see Dr. Shoyinka, Mr. Bodunde. Do you have anything to say, sir? Probably you want us to do a quick revision, or you just want us to go ahead with the class today. Actually, for the class today, we're going to do a little bit revision on using dictionaries, because I think it was one of the concepts that was explained last week that people had time to um, people struggle to understand.
Quick recap would be fine.
Okay, of dictionaries or probably last class, which
The last class.
last class. Okay. All right. One. So I would prepare that now. Um.
Can I move the question?
Yes. So I'll just get the slides for last. I'll get the slides for last class, and then I'll put it up.
Okay.
Okay. Now we'll do a quick revision of what we did in the last class. Um. More of the concept. The only thing is we're going to spend less time with it compared to the last time. Um. Welcome back, everybody. Once again, my name is Kennedy today, and I'll be handling this boot camp. Also, with me would be Ikeoluwa, Miracle, and Mujib. You can reach out to any one of us if you have issues, and or if you need help with anything regarding the boot camp or Python in general. So last class we introduced ourselves to Python as a programming language, and then we talked about what Python could do, starting from data science to general software development. Also, we stress the fact that using mastering the language fundamentals is very important, because it's only when you master the fundamentals that you can go ahead to do much more advanced stuff. And then we encourage each other to learn through practice, not by reading, not by listening, not by watching videos. So the only way the only way you learn fast is to practice. So what do I mean by practice? You always pick up problems and try to solve them. So with time, you get more professional. Then we shared the link for this bootcamp course. So if you want to access the materials once again, kindly go to bit.ly/nshk underscore code camp underscore code underscore camp. Um, yeah, so what can Python do? Python can automate simple tasks, like you could use it to search for files and edit them. You can also use to script message information. You can also use to script the web for information. What is scripting? For example, you might want to have a website that shows the current stock exchange price for maybe Tesla, and you don't want to have to go there and update it every time. So if you can get maybe the New York Stock Exchange website, you could write a code such that even when they update the information on their website, it reflects on your site, and your users can see the information. So you can also use Python to read and edit your Excel files. So it's part of working with data, whereby you do so many analysis, and then you get so many insights with data sets. So we would look more into this in the next slide. Then you can also use Python to automate so many processes, such as emails and text messages. Also, you can use Python to create website. Yes, websites. You can use Python for the backend development, and when you use a framework like Django and Flask. So it's really interesting, and the capabilities of Pythons are quite unlimited, and people are getting to explore it day by day. It would be nice for you to jump on the train and do great things with it. Also, we stress the fact that Python is used for data science and machine learning. Actually, I might be biased, but then I think the number one language when it comes to data science and machine learning is Python, because of the well-developed community. So if you use Python for data science and machine learning, if you ever get stuck, easily you can get help, and people are ready to help you, and people are happy to help you for free. So in using Python for data science, you could use it for data visualization. How do you interpret data? How do you analyze it? How do you use it to make some predictions based on the data you have at the moment? Then we explain the cost structure, which involves we explain the cost structure, and we talked about using the Google Colab. So do I introduce you to the Google Colab once again?
Yeah, maybe just a few code lines.
Okay. So for the Google Colab, I'm going to just go back there again. Sorry. So, I'm going to go back there once again. So you don't have to know the link. So just Google Colab, and then you can always go there. So yes, so when you open the Google Colab, so this is what you see, and yeah, it gives you like a welcome screen like this. So if you want to create a new notebook, this is it here, new notebook. Then if you want to upload the notebooks that which we already prepared, it's here. So you can just if you have like a notebook waiting, you could open it like like the bootcamp materials you have with you. Then you drag and drop inside. So for example, for the introductory slides, I could just drag the introduction underscore guided exercises, and I would drop it, drag, and drop. So when you drag and drop, it uploads. Then it opens your Python notebook. So this is what the Python notebook looks like. So before we start, I'll take us through the interface. So see your Google Colab, like your default window application, like where you have file, edit, view, insert, and everything as a menu options, menu tools. So if you click on file, you can see so many things, like you want to save, you want to, like, normal things you do. Edit also has some functionalities and everything. So this is it. Then last week, Ikelua introduced you to the basics of Python, and I'm going to do a little bit of introduction here. So, for example, if you click on this guided exercises, you could see that there's a little bit of, like, focus on this. So this environment I'm hovering around is called a cell. It's called a cell. So a cell in Google Colab can either be a code cell or a markdown cell. A markdown cell is also known as a text cell. What do I mean? Now look up here. You could see code, you could see text. So this code text is you using the if you click on the code cell, you're saying that the particular cell you want to create, you want to use it for code. If you click on this, that means the cell you want to create, you want to use it for markdown. What do I mean? If you click on text, yeah, it brings this out. That means you just want to type instructions there and say, hello everyone. Hello everyone. Then you could just click enter when you're done, or shift enter, and you see hello everyone. Yes, so, and you see hello everyone. So here it's not a code, it's just you trying to make your notebook readable. So if you want a note, a code cell, you could just click on code here and it creates a code cell for you. A code cell, we have like this option here where it means like run the cell, like you want to execute the commands you have in the cell. So, and then last week, Ikolua covered some basic fundamentals, such as using your cell to print hello world, hello I'm here, and everything. So if you want to use this now, you could just go print open brackets. Then because we want to print hello, you could just then you put the quote quotation mark, then you can put hello here. Much later in the course, we told ourselves that this hello in quote means a string. While going to the recap, we're going to go there. So now, once I have this, I would click on execute the play button here, and then let's wait for it. Yeah, we can see this. Yes, do we get this?
Yes.
Okay. That is that. So Ikelua also put us through formatting, like how do you create so many very nice visualizations with your print statements. So that was that. A minute, please. I need to get this. Yes. So after that, we also covered some interesting concepts, such as how do you name in Python, and we talked about the naming conventions. In the naming conventions, we mentioned that your name has to be meaningful. Not necessarily, it's not like compulsory that it has to be meaningful, but then to help yourself, please make your name meaningful. And what do I mean by meaningful names? I said if you are coding and you want to create a variable day of the week. Intuitively, if anybody reads the code, the person knows, oh, this is the day of the week. But if you put the name of your variable as XYZ, and they're looking at it, then you're like, what's happening here? What's going on here? So usually when you're coding, make life easy for yourself by yes, you need to make life easy for yourself by putting meaningful names amongst other things. Then we also talked about the assignment sequence. So we gave this instance whereby we have hours per week. I will said look at how the variable was named, hours underscore per underscore WK, which is week. And another thing is when you're naming your variables, you can't put space in between. You have to join them together. So yeah, so you have to join them together, and that's how it works. So we also looked at different assignment statements in the last class. So for example, I'm going to create some variables now. I'm going to put some assignment statements in. So because of the recap, so I'm going to create a very new notebook. So we can just use it for the recap. Okay. Now I've created my notebook. Okay, so now if I want to write name, my name, so I could just my name underscore to equals to Kenny. Now my underscore name is a variable and it's holding a value Kenny. And it's holding a value Kenny. So from this we can always go ahead and do yes. So we can always go ahead and do this. So of course we can run this cell. It won't do anything because we didn't ask it to do anything. Oh, I don't know why it's loaded. Yeah, so it won't do anything. So another thing is we can create another code cell down here and say print. Now I won't put Kenny there. I'll put print my name, and this will print my name. So as simple as that. Then also last week we did something like input statement. So how do we ask our users for input? So we're going to do something now such that once the user enters an input, it uses that for them, and it of course prints their name. So let's say now I'm going to make it dynamic and ask for your name. So your name would be equals to input. So because I want to take input from the user, input, then open a bracket, then the prompt, which is what is your name? Then I could go down and say print. Then I put maybe hello, then a comma. Then after the quote, I could just add your name. Let's see what happens. So there's a syntax error here. Let me see. Okay, so I would explain the reason why there was that syntax error. So now it's asking what is your name, and Mujib says, oh, I'm Mujib. Then our program says, hello Mujib. So the reason why we had the syntax error before was I didn't do something like this. At times yeah. So what happened there is I'm asking the compiler to print hello, then your name. So this plus here is called a concatenation. a concatenation sign, because for a string, you can concatenate a string together. So what do I mean by concatenation? So I'm going to show you an example. Say, for example, my name is Kende Oyetunde, and probably, yeah, my first name is Kende and my last name is Oyetunde. So I could just say, oh, this is my first name. My first name. See the way we're creating very meaningful variables. And then my last name. So it's very good for us to make our naming conventional. So I'm using lowercase for my naming. So and you should know that Python is case sensitive. So if you put something as uppercase, it's not the same thing when you put it as lowercase. So this is my name. So if I want to get the full name, for example, all I need to do is first name plus last name. So if I do this, I can come down here and print my full name. So if I do this, let's see what happens. See, it just joins. Can you do it today? But then maybe this is not necessarily all that meaningful. Like it's all muddled up together. So can anybody give us a suggestion on what to do to make things better? Anybody?
We add space.
Yes. So thank you so much. So I could just come here because once again, I would like to say that a computer is what a computer does is garbage in, garbage out. Well, you don't throw garbage and then you expect very nice stuff from it. So I'm going to add space. So all I need to do is I'm going to create a very small string or space in between. And I'm going to do this. Voila, we've done that, and then we have a more meaningful um, output. So now we should make this more interesting, such that it's going to ask for your first name, and it's going to ask for your last name, and it's going to say your full name is so and so. So let's start. So one thing is in programming, you don't have to code things from the scratch. You can just copy and paste. But then it's just lazy way of doing things. But yeah, it works. So I'm going to copy this. I'm going to copy it. I'm going to put it here. So I'm going to say, what is your first name? And I'm going to do that here too. What is your last name? Then we're going to print a full name.
You so, put
you said what?
I need a hyphen underscore.
You said what?
Please okay. Come again. It's okay. I was just thinking if we could put an underscore with the first name. I just realized it's just it's not necessary, right?
In the prompt, right?
Yeah. What is your first name?
Okay. Yes. In this prompt,
it's not necessary. Yes.
Yes. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and so who's going to give us their first name?
Daniel.
Thank you, Daniel. So Daniel, and we're going to put enter, and your last name?
Dio.
Okay. Dio. So you say Dio, Daniel. So well, let's make it a little bit more fun and say come here, say, oh, your full name is, yeah, I'm going to of course put plus here. So I'm going to use my name, for example, Kende, and I'm going to put see. So there are so many things you could do with yeah, with Python and printing things to the screen. So let me see where else to cover. Okay. So another aspect that we covered last week was let me see. Um, we also covered different data types. So we talked about integers, we talked about floats, we talked about string. So now before we move ahead, we talk about them again. So I'm going to create a code text here. So now we want to talk about data types. So we talked about integer, we talked about floats, then we'll talk about strings. The another thing is would learn to use type, and then we learn to use we learn conversion. So this is what we're going to do next. So can someone remind me what an integer is, what a string is, what a float is?
Integers are full whole numbers,
Like,
right? Like 39, 41,
okay,
50, yeah. While floats are numbers with decimals.
Like an example, please.
23.39.
Okay.
Yeah, and then the strings, just mixture of numbers and just characters, letters. That's my understanding, though.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So yeah, thank you so much. So when it comes to integers are like whole numbers, like 34, 37, like 67, like 98, like one, like so far it doesn't have a decimal place. So this is an integer. So operators. So, integers. Okay. So this is an integer. If you want to have a float looks like you have like 3.4, you have like 67.2, you have like 1,000,000, 1,000 points. Like this is a float because it has a decimal place. So for string is something like looks like this. Uh, hello, the string. Can you do the string? This too is a string. Yeah, this too is a string. Even though like it's a number, but it's a string. So another thing is, how do we know? The question is, how do we know for sure the data type we are working on? So in that case, we would have to do something else. So we have to be able to check the type of the data set. So I'm going to show us how to do that in a second. Okay, a minute, please. Okay. Okay. So if you have like a variable, maybe age, and age is like 78. So what type of what data type is this?
Integer.
Yes, it's an integer. So for one, like how do we know the type of data it is? We can do this. You can put type and put age. So let's see what happens. It returns integer. So if you have like 37 points, let's say cost be like 37.5. So if you want to check the data type of this, you could as well just use type cost, and we see it's a float. So if you are being if you're if you're confused about it, you can always check. So if we say maybe um number of students, for example, number underscore of underscore students in a room, and then we happen to put it as this. Now, what what is the data, what is the data type of this?
String.
Thank you so much. It's a string. So we can confirm. So string. So after establishing this, we're going to go ahead and try to understand how do we convert a data type. Now this is string. Let's see how we can convert it to an integer that it is. Sorry. So now I'm going to put it as number of students again. So if you want to convert to a particular data type, it's called casting. So you want to cast it into a data type. So now I want to cast it as an integer. So I put integer int number of students. So I've done that. So now let's check this again. See, it's now an integer. Do we all get that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let me see. What else did we do? So far we've done some introductions about integers and floats, but we've not really done much about string. So let's quickly do a little bit revision on string. Then we'll take like a 5 minute break. Then we'll come back to discuss list, then a little bit of tuple. Then we'll discuss array, dictionary, and we'll continue with the class for today. Can we do that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So for a string, so we're going to do some string operations here. So for example, we know that maybe let's get a string called greetings. So this greetings string, um, let's save hello here as the greetings string. So let's do so many things with it. For example, if you want to get the first element, which is h, you could as well just use greetings and put 0, like the square bracket 0, and it returns h. If you want to, so one thing is that we would like to remind us that in Python, when you want to count, you start counting from 0. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So if I want to get there, maybe oh, I could just say greetings, 4, and that's it. But it becomes much more interesting when we have a very long string. Maybe um maybe maybe, for example, maybe my full name, for example. This is my full name, and maybe my full name is and you probably need the last value of my full name. Do you start counting 0, 1, 2, 3? It's quite stressful, right? Hello. So you could use the -1. In Python, -1 stands for like the last element. So when you use -1, it gets this out. So another thing we can do with string is you can look for the length of the string. So I'm going to start with greetings, even though we know we're going to start with greetings. So it's telling you that it is 5. See, fine, it counted from 0 to 4, but then the length is still 5, right? So if you want to know the length of my full name, you could as well go and say length full name, and it says it's 16. So do we all get that? Do we get that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you so much. So now we'll go on like a 5 minutes break. Then we'll come back by 2:05. Let's make it this an 8 minutes break. So we'll come back by 2:05, and we continue with list operations, tuples. Then we do a very much review on dictionaries. Then we'll make ourselves understand how dictionary works. Then we'll go ahead with the order for the day. So thank you so much. So see you in 8 minutes time.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Now we're going to cover list. So the reason why I want to cover list is because of the revision, so we know how to move ahead. So let me see who's with me. Okay. So okay. So generally, list is more like a flexible array. So flexible in the sense that you can have so many things in a list. You can have a list of integers, you can have a list of string, you can have a list of floats, you can have a list even having different elements. So in this case, we're having a list called A, which has its first element as 99, and the second element is a string, and the third element is a list. So yeah, a list can be a list of lists, and you can even next the list to be a list of list of list. So you can have a list of lists, and you can do so many operations with list, just like we did with our string. So everything we could do with our string, you can also do with a list. So now I'm going to show us some of the things we can do with a list in our lab session. Um, okay. Yeah. So now we'll create a list. So let our list be probably days of the week. Okay, I used this last week. Maybe someone should give us another idea about the list. What should we use as a list? Ideas, guys. Ideas.
Cities in China,
Okay.
Hong Kong,
Cities. Okay, places in Hong Kong.
in Hong Kong.
You would have to help me with that anyway. But so places in Hong Kong. So places in HK. So Daniel. So please help me out with this. So the places.
Shatin.
Shatin. Okay.
Um,
Shatin. Okay.
some of the names are double. I don't know how we write it.
Yeah. Sure. Like it's double, and we're creating a string.
Okay,
So
all right.
regardless, yes.
Okay. Mongkok.
Bangkok. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Where else?
Typo.
Typo. Okay. Where else?
UN log.
Let's say Samsung. Okay. Let's say TST. Let's say
On how someone's writing on how GST check 1.
yeah.
Okay, yeah, Dr. Akini is written Anham and Ankau.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. Thank you so much. So yes. So now this is a list having places in Hong Kong. So we should play around with it, and then we should have as much fun as possible. So the first thing we're going to do is, how many cities do we have in Hong Kong? Like if this are the number of cities we have in Hong Kong, so you could just say length, LEN, places. Now see the way I'm typing, I could see a suggestion down, so you can just press enter. Then of course we come here and we run it, and you can see that we have 8 cities in our list. So another thing we can do with our list operation is to add to the list. Say for example, we forgot a city. So we could maybe probably add to it. So if you want to add to a list, you write the name of the list, then you append. So the terminology is very important. So when we append to the list, so want to append what's Mr. President?
Central.
Central. Thank you so much. Central. So if you are also append central, we do that. Then if you want to see what would be in our list, you can print it out, and we have print out places in Hong Kong. I can see it here, so I'm going to just go there, and we can see central here. So yes, so that is that. We can also do so many things like, okay, now we inserted center. Like when you use a pen, what a pen does is it adds to the last element. So it adds to the last element. So but now what if we want to add probably want to add our new city after typo? So what we do is we insert. Now we're not appending, we insert. So we're going to go places in HK dot insert. Where are we going to insert it? The position. So we want to insert it after typo. So now let's count 0, that is for shorting 0, 1, 2. So that means we want to insert after we want to insert 2, then that means we want to insert between typo and cyclone. So that means we want to make it the third one, right? So we could go and put 3, 3, then the name of our of the element we want to add to our string. So can someone give us another place in Hong Kong? So for example, Diamond Hill. So now we're going to print our places in Hong Kong again. So now we can see that Diamond Hill is between typo and cyclone. Do we all get that? Yeah, do we get that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, so now we're going to do some operations now. So now, how do we remove an element from a list?
Delete.
Yes, we can use delete. Then we can use delete. Of course. Yeah, but in this case, I'm going to use pop. But yeah, I'm going to use pop. Actually, if you want to delete will just delete the old list. Like if you use delete, then
okay.
it deletes everything. But now we want to pop something out of the list. So say for example, you want to pop, like if you pop anything out of this list, places in Hong Kong, for example, places in Hong Kong dot pop. Let's see what happens. So now when you got the dot pop, you put the bracket there. The reason being, pop as it is, it's more like it's a function. We're going to go back to a function later today. So we run this. So it actually pops the last element, which is central. So now if again we print out this here, we'll see that we can no longer see central. So that means we have removed central from our list. What if we want to remove an element in the list at a particular place? What do we do? Ideas, please.
Like the 3 diamond hill, you can just put the position and then you pop it.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So I'm going to copy this again because I'm so lazy. Let's copy this again. Put this here. So I want to pop at this position 0, 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to pop at 3 position. And let's go again. So if I print my list, we see that we can't see diamond hill there. Another thing that we can do with a list is we can reverse a list. So now probably want our list to start from Angom, Shenkwano, Angao, TS, and everything. So we can reverse the list. So let's do this. Let's do places in Hong Kong, reverse. So now I'm going to print. Now I'm going to print. I'm going to print this again. Now, can we see that we have reversed this? Can we see that we reversed this? So the next thing is to uh, so the next thing is to do some other things like you can even use a list to you can sort a list. So it might not okay. So we can always try. So let's do this. Honestly, I don't know how I was going to sort it because we have strings here, but then it doesn't harm us to try. So yeah, you can see that it's not in alphabetical order in a way. So do we get that? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Because I want I want this to be much focused. So we won't cover tuples because tuples you probably use them less. But yeah, I'll just mention that tuples are more like list. The only thing is that in tuples you can't change tuples. Like once you create a tuple, like you can't delete anything from it, and you can't add anything from it. You can't add anything to it. So that's that for tuple. Please, I would take like about 3 minutes break. Then I want to be back, and then we'll continue with arrays and dictionaries. So for now, I want us to digest what we have with the list. So I'm going to put this up so we can always look at it. So we'll be back by 2:25. Thank you so much.
Before the facilitator comes back, if you have any questions you ask on what he has covered, you can ask, and if I'm able to answer, I'll answer them, or we keep it till when he comes back.
For me, for now, there's no more question popping up in my mind.
Okay, maybe before he comes back, you can perhaps try to write something like a small program to add two numbers together and see if you're able to do that. So your program can ask, it can prompt the user to supply first number, to supply second number, and then add the two numbers together and give the answer to the user. Can you try that? So basically, for that kind of problem, you need to prompt the user to input, and then you store the variable, you store the numbers imputed into a variable, and then you add the two variables together. So try to see if you can do that by yourself, just to while away the time. Are you able to do it?
Still on it.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Welcome back. And yeah, so far, any questions with what we've covered? Any questions from anyone? Questions? Do you need clarity? Or do I assume that everything is okay? Then I should go ahead. Guys, please, please, let's talk, please.
I think some of them are busy trying to do the small exercise. They wanted to try their hands on adding two numbers together while you are away.
Okay. So we'll just wait. So if anybody wants to share their screen, or is having probably because you're having issues with something, please, you can let us know. It's an open session.
Hello, good morning from Nigeria.
Yeah, good morning.
This is Nelson. I just finished from PolyU. I just joined. I just got the link from Mistura. I hope I can see cope now. I can still understand at this level, joining you at this level.
Yeah, very well. Because it would always explain things like step by step, so you can very much follow us, and then of course you should be able to grab.
Okay. Because I don't have any knowledge and I want to learn it. It's very important. I want to know it.
Yes, yeah, like it's okay. Like you would get to know better, and we have the video from the first class.
Okay.
It's available. Then all the slides and the resources are also available. So even for this class, the video will be made available to everybody. So you can drop your email address in the chat box. We will definitely send them to you, even if you're not on the group.
Okay, sir. Thanks so much.
You're welcome.
Bless you.
Because I want us to cover so many things today, I think I'll just go ahead and press it. Please, can I go ahead?
Yes, please.
So the next thing we'll do now is to cover a little bit of arrays. So now we're going to cover arrays. So basically the reason why we cover arrays is because we'll probably need it much later. So but then I'll just show us how to convert a list to an array and how to work with it. So I'm going to continue with our makeshift laboratory. So say for example, if you want to create an array, you can create an array from a list of lists. What do I mean by a list of lists? Say I have A, for example. A is equals to, then of course I open the angle bracket, the square bracket, then I go maybe 2,3. And outside that list, another comma, and I put 1,2, 1,5, 4, for example. Now this is a list of lists, but I can convert this to an array. So we talked last week that if you want to convert to an array, you start with like you have to, like we use the numpy array, so you have to import. So we import number Python, so so it's numpy. Yes, so numpy. Then we could just go again and we convert this list of lists to an array by saying numpy dot array. Then we put a there. So once we have this, so if I print a, we're going to see how it looks like. In the same vein, I could come and create another array b to be equals to 7, comma, so it's going to be like an array of an array. So maybe 7, comma 8. Then I'm going to come here and put another comma here and say 2, comma 5. And next thing is I'm going to cast it again and say b. Now cast is conversion, right? B is equals to numpy dot array, then b. So I'm going to print b so we understand what b looks like. So now if you want to create another array c, and the array is like a plus b, for example, so we can always come down here and say we want to print c. And you can see, okay, if 2 plus 7, 9, 3 plus 8, 11, 1 plus 2, 3, 4 plus 5, 9. So that's it. So anything you can do with a normal matrix operation, you can do with this array. So that was why we introduced ourselves to array in the last class. So but now we would not necessarily go too deep into it. So if you need more on it, you can always use the reference links, and that'll be it on array. That'll be it on array. So now we're going to look into dictionaries. Yes, so last week we had issues with dictionaries, like people felt maybe it's a little bit complicated, maybe, yes, maybe, but then like it has its own usefulness. So I'm going to just give us a very quick brief on dictionaries. So much later, when we need to treat advanced concepts on it, we're going to go back and then we're going to look into it. So what's a dictionary, and how is it different from a list? So a dictionary is it's an associative array. So like dictionary is associative arrays is a dictionary. So like you could have so many things with a dictionary. For example, maybe for me, my name is Kenny, and you want to save so many things like my age, my best food, my best color, and everything, and you want to make sure that like it makes sense. So you could just say, oh, Kenny equal to. Now, unlike a list that you create with a square bracket, you create an array with like the parentheses, the curly bracket, like curly bracket. So you could start maybe my name. So it's like my name, and my name is Kenny. So if I print this, okay, so as not to confuse you, so let's do it this way. Let me put my full name. my full name is Kehinde Yetunde. So now I'm going to print the dictionary is Kenny. So you could see my full name is Kehinde Yetunde. Now, this full name here is called the key, and this Kehinde Yetunde is called the value. So how do I access the value from a key? So this is how to do that. So if you want to get that, you could get it like say Kenny. You want to know the Kenny's full name, Kenny, and you put full name. And tells you Kehinde Yetunde. Do we get that? Do we?
Yes, sir.
So now I'm going to make this a little bit complicated. Now apart from having a full name, you could come and say age. Now our age is meant to be like an integer, so you could put 78, for example. Of course, I'm not that old. So I'm going to run it. I just updated the slide. So that's it. So if I print Kenny again, so you can see this. So if I print the full name, you can see this. So if I also come here and say Kenny age, you see this. So you can do so many things like that with a dictionary, and so many operations with that. Can we continue?
Yes, sir.
I hope it's not complicated anymore, like as much as it was last time.
Yeah.
Hmm?
Yeah, maybe we wait for people to answer.
Yes. So for another thing I will show you before I go is before we move this. For example, if you want to change, probably my age was wrong. You could as well go and say Kenny, then you put the age. Let me show it. I say no, Kenny is 67 years old. So if I print Kenny again to see what is in Kenny, see the difference. My name is still there, but has changed my age. So I'm going to give you like few minutes to look at this, and then we go ahead with control structures. Any questions? Questions? Can I go ahead now? Can I go ahead with control structures? Can I?
Yes, please.
Okay. So control structures are more of we trying to put a little bit of order into what we do. For example, if you want to check if a particular variable as something, or if you want to check if a condition is true, and because of that you want to do something with it, you can use the if statement. So the if statement will check. So you can have as many ifs as possible. Then also you can have the else statement too. So in our lab session, we're going to see it much better. Also, we're going to look into the while condition now statement. We're going to look into the for loop, and then maybe not now. We look into the break, continue, and pass. So not to waste time, we're going to go into the laboratory. So let's start. Probably you want to check, you want to write like a simple condition to know if something is, if an entry, if something is a number or not. You could say value, for example. Value, for example. Let's say the value is 56. So if you can open a bracket, or you could just say if value. Now we want to write a condition. Now we've seen this equal to, which is 1. Now this single equal to that we know about, it's an assignment statement. But now we want to check if something is equal to something. So if value is equal to, you have a two equal to. Yeah. If now what I want to check is, if the value is an integer, or maybe a float or something like that. So I'm going to go and say type of value. It's equals to integer. Let's see. Let's hope it works. Print. So like if statement, you have if, then you have else. Like, okay, if it meets this condition, do this. Else, then you put the else, the colon, then press enter. See how Python indents. Indentation is like this space here. So the next thing is for us to run it and see how it works. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so our type value is not working. So let me see something. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, the integer is meant to be like a small letter. So now we are checking if the type of the value is an integer, like int. You could see that the color is different. So it shows that it's a keyword. We talked about keyword tool in last class. So you should show the value is an integer. So now let's see. Let's intentionally make this a string. Let's do it again. See, it's telling us that it's not an integer. So that is that. So do you understand this before we complicate it a little bit? Do we understand this before we complicate it a little bit?
I did not understand though, probably because I didn't follow from beginning.
Okay. So thank you so much for that. What we just did is we tried to check if a number is an integer or not. So we created a value. Like this is more like this is a name. So maybe your name equals to, let's say for example. So now this is value equals to 56. Now we want to look at we want to check. So we want to introduce ourselves to like control structures if. So now this type the in value is like we trying to understand what is inside that variable.
Okay.
Please hold on. Okay, so that's that. So before now, we talked about how to check the type of a particular variable. So say for example, age is equals to 78. So this type is an integer. Like 78 is a whole number. Integer means whole number. So if you have like anything that is decimal, it means like a float. So if you want to check that type, you can just put like the function type and put that variable in it. So now we declared a variable, then we have this if condition, then we say, okay, if the type of the variable is equal to an integer. So we talked about since we want to check if something is equal to, like we are reading a conditional statement that we that we would have to use like 2 equal to. So now now if it's going to be equal to this, we're going to print to everybody that, oh, the value is an integer. If not, we're going to also print that the value is not an integer. So that's basically what we've done. Nothing, it's not that complicated. So now we want to complicate things a little bit further by checking if if the number is an integer, if it's a float, and all. Please hold on. Okay, so yeah, so let us continue with that. So let's continue with that. Now we're going to complicate things a little bit further by putting multiple um state, multiple conditional statements. So now I'm going to go back, like now I'm pressing enter, but I'm not going to type like with the indents. I'm going to go a little bit down here. So I'm going to put else if. Else if is elif. Elif. I'm going to go again and say type value equal to float. So now we want to check if the value is a float. So print the value is a float. Now let's go again. We're going to run it again. Okay. And we're having issues. Okay. Yeah, sorry. No, I'm not meant to put Control Z. So here. Okay. So now if we have maybe 56, just normal 56, and we run this code, it's an integer. Then maybe let's put a 0.2 here, and we see it's a float. Now let's put quotes. Let's quote it, which obviously we know is a string. We have this. So do we get that very short example of using if statement, if, elif, else? So I'll just proceed to using a for loop. But before I use a for loop, let's introduce ourselves to something. Nelson, if I ask you to write numbers from 1 to 10, would you be able to do that? Hello? Are you there? Okay. Anyone, if I ask you to write a number from 1 to 10, would you be able to do that? Anybody? Yes? I can't. No one is talking. Guys? Okay, yes. So what if I asked you to write the numbers from maybe 1 to 1 million? Would you be able to do that also? I bet that, of course, normally we are going to be able to do that, but it's like a very stressful. So now let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now let's make things a little bit interesting. So we're going to put our numbers in a list. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Easy, right? So we can also come here and print numbers to the people. And we have this. But what if you want to write numbers to 100? What do we do? Like, it's going to be so stressful. So yeah, now we can use a for loop. So for loop is for, then you put like a temporary variable there. So I'm going to say maybe I, for example, for I in range. So I want 100 values, 100 values, for example. So I'm going to say print I. So I'm going to run this. Now let's see what happens. So it starts from 0 and it went to 99. This is because the way Python works is Python starts counting from 0. Python starts counting from 0. So now, actually, what we want to do is to write numbers from 1 to 100 in a list. So what I'm going to do is, now we are complicating this a little bit. Now what we're going to do is we now create a list of numbers. So let's say list of numbers is equal to this. So now I'm creating an empty list. Then remotely, I'll be populating the list of numbers by, how do we populate list again? Can someone remind me? How do we add items to a list? How do we add items to a list? Yes, we use insert if you want to add to a particular place. But then, since we're not particular about where we want to add it to, we can use append. Thank you so much, Doctor. Append. So we're going to append I plus 1. Now, the reason I'm appending I plus 1 is, see, it started from 0, but I'm not interested in 0. And I want it to get to 9, to get to 100. So let's see what happens. So I'm going to print, now I've done that. So if I come here and print my list of numbers now, then I come and run it. See, we have everything we need. Now, do we get that before we move ahead? Hey, do we get that before we move ahead?
Come again, sir, on this second one, sir.
Okay. Yes. So this one is we talked about printing numbers from 1 to 10, and we know that of course it's very easy for us to do that. Then we increased the difficulty a little bit and said how do we count numbers from 1 to 100? Initially, so we said we should use a for loop. So with this our for loop, we tried for then you create like a temporary variable. So I, for example, in range, they will create the size we want, which 100. Then we we printed to the screen. But we said that was not necessarily what we wanted to do. That we want to put numbers in a list like we did here. So the first thing we did was to create an empty list, which we called list of numbers. Then for every iteration, so for I in a range of 100, so it would add I plus 1. So this is how it goes. 0, it puts 0 plus 1, 1. It puts it in list of numbers. This is 1. It comes here, 1 plus 1, 2. It puts here, 2. Next one, 2, like I was to 2. It comes here. It does that till the end. So you know what? We should increase the difficulty a little bit. Then probably you would understand much better. Let's have a list of even numbers between 1 to 100. So let's do that now. So I'm going to create a list of even numbers. Of even numbers. So I'm going to make it an empty list. I'm going to say for now this can be J, for example. J in this can be J, it can be anything in range of 100. Now I'm going to put the colon there, enter, and I'm going to say, okay, the number is, we mentioned that we're interested in like 1 to 100, so the number is equals to J plus 1. So now the next thing I'm going to do, because I want even numbers, so I'm going to say if number the modulo 2 is equals to 0, list of even numbers dot append number. So I'm going to run this. So if I run this, I would come back and explain everything much better. See, you have 2, 4, 6, 8. So now this is it. Now I used something here. First of all, I created the for loop. Secondly, I created okay, because I knew my for loop was going to start exactly from 0, but I'm more interested in it starting from 1. So I made sure that okay, it will keep adding 1 to any number I any number I'm looping through. So the next thing is to use modulo. Modulo is like the remainder of. So before we go ahead, we should see how modulo works. So 5 divided by 2 is what? Hello, 5 divided by 2.
That's 2.5.
Yes, 5 divided by 2 is 2, remainder 1. So 5 modulo 2 is 1. Let's see. 5 modulo 2 is 1. 10 modulo 3 is going to be 1. So this is 10 divided by 3. 3 remainder 1. 5 modulo 3 is going to be 2. 5 divided by 3, 1. Remainder 2. So modulo is the remainder. So, and we from our elementary definitions, we know that an integer is a number that is, when you divide it by 2, you won't have a remainder. Like that. That means a number that is completely divisible by 2. That means if the number is completely divisible by 2, I don't expect a remainder. Right? So that is why I wrote like another if condition, just like we did here. So now I wrote such that, like, if the number modulo 2, like that is if you divide the number by 2 and you don't have any remainder, then add that number to our empty list, and that's how we'll solve that problem. Do you understand this?
Somehow getting complicated though. Please.
Yeah, it does. But then like sit back, try to understand what we did in each step. Okay, you know what? I'm going to modify this a little bit. Normally our range starts from 0, but then we can make our range start from 1. So I'm going to copy everything here. Then I'm going to come down here and paste it. So if I want my range to start from 1, so I'm going to come in 1, 100. So in that case, I don't need to add this again. I can delete this line. I can put J here. I'm still going to get similar results. Let me see. Yeah, I'm not getting similar results. So what's the issue? Oh, okay. Yeah, see, with coding, you have issues and you debug it. So I'm still going to have similar results. So here I'm just making sure that our range starts from 1.
So that range means it's going to be between 1 to
Can we continue? Yes, can we continue?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so now we're going to go into the items for today, which to a very large extent, like, they are quite interesting because today is more focused on like solving problems. So welcome to the part 2. We're meant to do a recap from part 1, which we already did, the Google Colab. Then last class we gave ourselves like a little challenge, which it was the nurse M. And the idea was a nurse walks into a room full of patients, and the nurse asked everybody one after the other, "Oh, what's your name?" And when they told the nurse their names, the nurse says, "Hello, so and so." And after that, the nurse asked them for their body temperature, because in that hospital, there is this self-check thermometer, temperature checking device, and based on the information that they provide, the nurse goes ahead and gives them the advice. Oh, your body temperature is too low. You need help, or maybe your body temperature is okay, or maybe you need to have a COVID test, like it's maybe it's too high. So we did that in last class, and now we are going to provide the code with the slides. So for every of our app development that we do, we make sure that the codes are available on the slides for you to go over it and check things out. So we're going to run through this again. So we're going to go by it step by step and see how it goes. Um, or do you guys want to try before we run through it? Do you want to try the challenge? I should give you like 5 minutes to do that. Who wants to try the challenge?
Sorry, sir. All these things you are entering, where do I enter it? What do I, is there an app or something?
Okay, yes. So Nelson, to go over things for you again, please you can go to the Google Colab. Yeah, just Google Colab like this. Google Colab. Then once you do that, you see the Colab here. Open it, then create a new notebook here. Can you see that? Nelson.
See it. I want to try it now. Google Colab.
Yes, please do that.
Okay. Great. Okay, I've new notebook. Okay. I should click on that new notebook.
Yes, click on the new notebook.
Okay. It's loading now. Okay, I've seen. Okay, I've seen something like where I can play like this. Like that. Your own where you type, and I've seen something like that on title.
Do you want to share your screen so that I can see?
Okay. Let me share. You cannot start sharing while that participant is sharing. You said I cannot share. I can't share the screen.
Okay, so I'm going to pause my own. I'm going to pause my own share. Then what's the issue with your share screen?
It's saying you cannot start screen share while the other participant is sharing.
Okay, so I'm going to stop my share then. So I'll let you share your screen and I'll put it through.
Okay.
Okay, so next, please go ahead and share your screen.
Okay. I want to. Okay, this is it. I think this is it. Can you see? Can you see it now?
Yes, I can see. Yes, I can see.
You can see. Okay. So I think I'm on the right path.
Yes.
I've clicked the new note.
Yes. So this is where you enter your code, and it's totally fine.
Okay, this is where I'll be entering those. Okay, sir.
Yes. Yeah, this is exactly where you do that.
Okay. All right. Let me. I will stop. I will stop sharing my screen now. Right.
Yes. So I'm going to share my own screen.
How do I even stop? Sorry.
Don't worry about it. I'll do that.
Okay.
Yeah. So does anyone want to try this out?
You must walk into a room of patients.
Okay. In the absence of nobody wanting to try that out, so we're going to do that in this class together. Okay. So just hold on. Um, okay, so do I just explain, or do I go to the lab and explain things one after the other? Opinions? Okay, so I guess I will just go to the labs and explain. So back to the challenge. The challenge is that we have a nurse walking into a room full of patients. Then our nurse asks everybody about their names. So not to complicate things, so we'll take things step by step. So the first thing is we're going to create a variable which is the number of patients. So now we want to ask for this number of patients from the room. So so this is like input, like we mentioned before. So it now comes how many patients we have today. So the next thing is once you tell the patient the nurse how many students you have today, so we have a for loop and we create like a patient in range of the available patients. Number of patients. And then for everybody, the nurse will ask them for their name. So the nurse asks, what is your name? So once they tell the nurse their names, the nurse goes, I. So yeah, before we complicate things, we're going to run this and see if it's going to work. So how many patients do we have today? You put in 10. Yeah, but yes, of course, you're going to get an error. Can anyone debug that first? Does anybody know what happened just now? Anybody?
You need to use a plus when printing. Yeah.
Yes, but yeah,
And then also change the patient name to a string.
To an integer. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So of course, yeah, I think it's okay for if you put a comma where you're printing, then it's fine. You can also put a plus to concatenate. So yeah, the issue is this number of patients here, which we put 10, is a string. So we need to cast it to an integer.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. So we're going to run it again. I will put 3 patients. Then the nurse asks, what is your name? The first person says, oh, I'm Chisom. And the nurse says, hi, Chisom. And the second person says, Miracle. And the nurse says, I'm Miracle. And the third person says, I'm Mujib. And the nurse says, I am Mujib. So that's it. Do we get that before we complicate things a little bit? Do we get that before we complicate things a little bit?
Can you go over it again?
Okay, yeah, sure. So the first step is we is to get input from the users. Now, any input we get from the user here is going to be a string. So next thing what I would do is we convert the string to an integer. Convert the string to an integer. So after I convert the string to an integer, then we use the for loop to go through the number of the number we get. So for each number we ask for their names and we print I to them. So it's that simple. You get it now, Nelson?
I understand. I'm getting it now.
Okay. Thank you for that. Now we want to complicate it a little bit. So now we're going to ask another question again. Now the question we're going to ask each patient is, oh, what's your temperature? So once you ask for the patient's temperature, of course we know that anything we do here, anything we do here, like of course it's going to be a string. So next thing for us to do is to convert the string to a float, because temperature will probably have a decimal place. So now we're going to cast it to a float, and so again, before I complicate things, I'm going to run this again. Oh, sorry, I'm going to stop this. So before I complicate things, I'm going to, like, once you put in your temperature, it prints to it, like it prints your temperature to everybody. So how many patients do we have today? Let's say we have 2 patients. What's your name? Ike. And then Ike, what's your temperature? It's maybe 34, and it prints 34.0. And it asks the second patient, what's your name? And the person says Kenny. It says, hi Kenny, what's your temperature? And it does say, Kenny says 45 or 57, and it prints 57.0. Now, do we get that before complicating a little bit?
For drawing you back, please explain this again. This particular one.
Which one exactly? Which part?
The temperature part. This temperature part.
Okay, I'll do that. Okay, so basically, after the nurse says hi to them, the next thing is to follow something like this that we have here. So nurse asks for the patient for their temperature, and any value that we get from here, the nurse adds it to, like, patient temp. So next thing is, we know that temperature is a float value. So just like we casted this to an integer, we cast this to a float. The next thing is we print this the item to the screen for everybody to see. So that is it. Do you understand it now, or should I go by?
Yeah, I understand.
Now we're going to complicate things a little bit. Now we're going to do it such that if the temperature falls below a certain amount, the nurse should tell the patient something. If it's between a particular range, the nurse should tell the patient something. If it's not, then the nurse should say something else. So let's make things more interesting. So now we're going to go. If the patient's temperature is less than 36. Now this is us fixing it. So you put the colon, print again, print. Oh, hypothermia. If the patient temperature is greater than or equals to 36, and this and is like okay, and the patient temperature, like we want to define a range. It's greater than or equals to 6, and it's less than or equals to 6.9. Then if you print relax, you'll be fine. Then the last one, else. Okay, if your body temperature is not less than 36 and it's not between 36 and 36.9, maybe you might have a corona case. And the nurse says, oh, might be a corona case. Isolate you. Now we are done. So the nurse comes and says, how many patients do we have today? It's a 5. What is the name? Kelvin. And the nurse asks, hi Kelvin, what's your body temperature? Can someone give us a body temperature, Nelson?
30 something, 37. Have you anything?
37. Okay, thank you. So the nurse says, oh, might be a corona case. I will isolate you right away. So the nurse goes again, what is your name? And the person says, I'm Nelson. And the nurse says, hi Nelson. So Nelson, what's the body temperature this morning?
Let's say below, let's say 35, below 36.
35. And the nurse says, oh, hypothermia, that means you are freezing. So the nurse will get you to the ICU. So the nurse comes again, oh, what's your body temperature today? What's your name? And the person says, Chiso. So what's the body temperature?
36.5.
He said what?
36.5.
36.5. Thank you so much. And the nurse says, relax, you'll be fine. And the nurse comes again, what's your name? Kenny, what's the body temperature? And I said 38. And the nurse was get shocked and say, oh, my vehicle that case, I should need to right away. Nurse asks the other patient, Mujib, hi Mujib, what's the temperature today? So, Mujib, what's the temperature today?
32.
So, I could tell me we need to get it to the ICU. So, yeah, so that is the execution of the program. So even if you put 100 patients, the code will keep running and keep giving you the values. You keep asking the questions and will keep processing it. Such is with Python. So you automate processes with it. You don't have to create multiple instances. A for loop is okay.
The other time we talked about if and else, but which one is L if or something? I don't understand.
So if means else if. So when you have like two or more conditions. So if the first one is if, the second one is else if, you can go else if. The last one is okay, if it doesn't meet all this if and else if, then do this. So the last one is usually else. Do we get that?
Thank you.
So I'm going to give us like 2 minutes to digest this, then go to another problem solving. So today I actually planned more problem solving and some session for us today to get familiar with how things work. Yeah, so I'll give us 3 minutes to digest this, and probably maybe you can try it out on our own Google Colab, see how it runs. If you have issues with it, you can let me know. You share your screen, then we debug it together. So we'll be back by 3:30. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Change of environment because I'm so surprised. Zoom meeting now.
Yeah, I'll speak. Mr. Nelson.
Sorry, sir, I will.
No worries. I just wanted you to Yeah. If you have any issue with your code, just let me know. I'll send in for the facilitator before he comes back. Okay. Oh, Dr. Dami. Yeah, kindly note that can you know that in your if else if or elif block, we have to make sure that the if and the elif and the else are on the same straight line. So the indentation is taken cognizance of by Python by the Python program. So if they are not on the same line, it will count it as if you are still typing some other statement under the if block. So you just push your the elif and the else statement to align perfectly with the if statement. Okay.
Welcome, guys. Welcome back. Can we continue now?
I think maybe you should also again explain to us the reason for us to make sure that the indentation is correctly done.
Okay, so thank you so much, President, for
Some
that.
people are having issues with it.
Yes, yes. Normally with other programming languages, if you want to indent, like maybe I'll give an example. For example, if you're writing maybe C++, Python, or so, if you want to write a for loop, you create like a curly bracket and you put everything in between. Even if you come here and type print X, print Z, it's going to work. But it's going to work. But then in this case, this is Python. So instead of us putting the curly bracket, what would tell Python that, oh, this particular value falls under this particular code is by us indenting, and the indenting comes naturally. For example, if you write for I in range of 2, I have to put colon. Now, if I press enter immediately, like it indents, I'll print I. It works. Now, if I want to write an if statement, if, say for example, A is equals to 34. Now I want to write a statement. If A modulo 2 is equals to 0, then I'm putting a colon, then I'm pressing enter. Then see, immediately I press enter, see it indents. That means if this condition is true, or do this. So I want to say print yes, it is an integer. So now if I press enter again, normally it's going to assume that I'm still under the if statement. But no, I could still as well say print again. It is an integer.
You mean even number?
It is an even number. Yeah, thank you so much. Now if I come down here and press enter again, see it's still indented. But no, I want to write an else statement. I can't write the else statement like this, because what this would see is that this else is under the if, but no, it's not under the if. So I'll come and then put the F on the same line with my if. So I'm going to make sure that my else is on the same line with my if C on the same line. Then for my else, I don't need to write a statement. Else colon. Immediately I press enter, it indents again. And we go print. No, the number, the value is not an integer. So that's it. Do you understand?
Okay.
Okay, so that is that. So now we would continue with we'll continue. So now I'm going to give you a few minutes to try this out. So this was meant to be the assignment for last class, but sadly, um, we didn't get any replies from anyone, and yeah, it was like that. But then I would like to remind us that the only way you can get proficient in programming is to practice. It's not even by watching YouTube videos. It's not by watching videos from Udemy. No, you can watch 100 hours of video and you won't still be able to do anything. Yeah, and I'm saying this from my own personal experience with self-learning. It's not as straightforward as it is. The best route to learn is to pick up challenges. Just try. You don't have to get it right. Just try. So I will say to us again, can we just try this? I'll give you an hint. The way we used our for loop to go from 1 to 100, you can use your for loop to go from 1 to 1000. Then you can write an if statement inside your for loop to check if maybe the number going through the loop modulo 3 is equals to 0. So if it's that, you can print where. So you can do that, test it. If it works, then you go again to the second condition, put it there. If it works, then go to the third condition, put it there, and that's how to solve it. So what we're trying to introduce to you is how to think and how to do things systematically. So I'll give you about 5 minutes to do this. So by 3:45, we'll come back and look into this together. Thank you.
If you encounter any problem while solving the question, you can raise it in the chat.
for an annuity, or can see that particular where we the screen, that particular place we did 1 to 100 the other time. I can use that idea.
Oh, you want the facilitator to move?
I don't even.
You mean this?
That 1 to 100. We are doing 1 to 1. We are doing 1 to.
Yeah, it's going to show you now. It's going to show you now.
Okay.
Yeah, I think this is 1 to 100 from line 67.
I can just use that idea to do 1 to 1,000.
Yes, you can. But then maybe you might not get the question.
That's another.
The question.
For me to do something offhand without this, I don't think I can try it offhand.
Okay. Maybe it's going to give you a small window then. Is it okay now?
Yes, I can see the. I can't see. But the program, I can't see the program. I can't see the code. I mean.
The code? Yeah,
okay,
the code is on the left-hand side.
Yes. Yes.
And the question is on the right.
Let me start typing. Just a few.
Are you making any progress?
All right, guys. Now we'll continue with the class. Did anybody try the exercise, and how was it? Yeah.
Mr. Nelson, did you try? Dr.
Immediately eat the stuff from that particular page. I have to see the code and be. You understand what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
let me just continue to follow with the explanation.
okay. I think Dr. Akini is almost done. Yeah, he said we should give him a little bit more time.
Okay, so we'll give them like 3 more minutes then. So we'll start continue by 3:55.
Mr. Philip, have you completed yours too?
Are you talking to me, sir?
Yeah, I was asking if you have completed the exercise or if there's
My boy is disturbing me.
Oh. No problem.
I said my son is disturbing. It's not allowing me to work.
Professor Diakola.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, yeah, Dr. Shoyinka is also still online also. And Miss Nika Ido.
Okay,
I think
just join. I'm kind of lost, but probably when the class one that we're giving me, it's being done. Maybe I'll try to grab it, but I'm kind of lost. This is my first time.
We'll share the video and the materials as well. And you can contact any of the facilitator after the class if you have.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you were saying something, Mr. Nelson.
Nika just joined us. That's what I was saying.
Okay. So just like a little bit about the thought process for the question. We were asked to check the numbers from 1 to 1,000, and then if the numbers are multiple of 3, we print royal. Else if the numbers are multiples of 5, we print blood. Else if the numbers are multiple of 3 and also the number is a multiple of 5, we print royal blood. And if none of these 3 conditions are met, we should just print the number. So that's like gives you the thought process, or how we will be able to put down the algorithm in like a layman term. Now we can now make this thought process into Python code and make it run to give the answers which has been shown in red. So the basic thing to do to make use of the loop format, that's to check the numbers from 1 to 1,000, and also the conditional block, the if, else if, elif, 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 until else. So just two major things to do. Okay, one more tip is if you're writing the range, maybe you could make it to be range of 1 to 1,001, since the last element will not be counted.
So we have so many other things to do today. I will just go ahead and provide the solution. Then we would
Oh,
go
he
through it
said,
together.
he couldn't get it. Is it okay if you copy your code to the chat box? Perhaps we can debug it, and then Professor Ted will give us the answer.
Yes. I think it will be better. Dr. Akini, can we debug your code together?
Just paste your code into the chat box, and the boss will continue.
So I think it's much better. Like it's not about getting it or not getting it, but trying is what really matters to us. Yeah.
Okay. He said he's using a different PC, so he will not be able to make use of the chat. So maybe just go ahead, sir.
Okay. So the first thing is we want to make sure that if first of all, I think we should take it step by step. We want numbers from we want to print out numbers from 1 to 1,000. So I'm going to do for I in so let's make it make sense. For number in range, now I'm going to put 1 to 1,000, but it's not going to add 1,000, so I'll put 1,001 because yes. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to print all these numbers out. So it's going to print everything to 1,000. Yeah. So Do we get this before we complicate things a little bit further?
Yeah, I think everyone should be able to get the print.
Yeah, do we get this before we get things a little bit
Yes,
complicated?
yes, 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 yes.
So the next thing is, I want to check if the number.
Because it will not, sorry, sir. Because it will not print the last number. Because it will just stop at 999. That was why we made it 1001.
Exactly. Thank you so much for that. Exactly. So that's it. So the next thing for that I want to do is I want to make sure that if the number is divisible by 3, then you should put the number as royal instead. So I'm going to come here and say if number modulo 3 is equals to 0, that is if it's divisible by 3, then print
So yeah,
royal. Then I'm going to come back here. You know, it has indented. I'm going to come back outside and say else, because I want this print to be under else. So I'm going to indent it by using tab. Like I'll go in front of print, then I'll press tab. So let's see what happens.
only multiples of 3.
So see. So let's see what happens. Let's see. So you see 1, 2 royal, 4, 5 royal, 7, 8 royal, 10, 11 royal, like that. So the next thing for us to do is to go to.
It means any number divisible by 3 now, it will print royal instead of that particular number.
Exactly. So that's the challenge. So move to number 2, which says for any multiple of 5, you should print blood. So we'll go back again and say, come here. It's indented, so move out by pressing backspace. Else,
Yes, if
thank you so much. Elif number modulo 5 equals to 0. Print blood. I'm going to run this again. So now let's see how this works. 1, 2 royal, 4 blood royal, 7, 8 royal blood, 11 royal, 11 like that. So instead of having like 20, for example, you have blood. Instead of having 21, you have royal. So do we get it?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So now the next thing is, if the number is a multiple of 3 and 5, that means maybe 3 times 5, 15. That means if the number is a multiple of 15, then print royal blood. So one thing we have to understand with if condition is okay. You know what? Let's try this. Let's put under elif there. Let's put it here. Then we'll look at it together if it makes sense. So now we can see that like 15 now is like royal, because royal is like a multiple of 3. So now let's do this. Let's say if the number is a multiple of 3 and 5, that means it's modulo 15 is equals to 0. Then we're asking it to print royal blood.
So that, sorry, sir, that and there means multiplication. If you are doing 3 and 5, that is 3 times 5. That's what it's not as if 3 separately, 5 separately.
Yes. So it's going to print royal blood. So let's see what happens. So we now run it. But can you see that? Let me see. Let me show you something. Now, if something is a modulo of 15, so what would be the first modulo of 15?
That would be 15 itself. Then followed by 30.
So 15 is this is 15 itself. See, we're having where? We're not having where blood. Let's go to 30. We're having where? We're not having where blood. Now this comes to like we've been smart with our code. So because if a condition is met, Python just jumps. Python will do whatever is there and jumps out of it. So because of that, you never see where blood, because if that particular number is a multiple of 3, Python would already print where and it will jump to the next number. So because where blood is more like modulo of 15 is more sensitive than 3 and 5, so we're going to make this our first condition. Guys, are you following?
So why are we making it our first condition? Our first condition.
Yes, we checked 15 and we saw that 15 still printed where, and the reason why 15 printed where is because where was the first condition, and when it gets to 15, if 15 a multiple of 3, yes, and then it prints where and goes to 16. But we want to make sure that it captures that condition. So that's why we are doing this. Do you get that now?
Yes.
So it's there?
Yes.
So now if I run this, you would see that see 15 hours where blood. And 30 as where blood. 45 hours where blood. And then we solve that problem. So I'll give us like just 2 minutes to digest this, then we'll go to the next challenge, which I'll give us like another 10 minutes.
So even though, so the other, the multiple number modulo 3, number modulo 5, we still that one will not change. That one will not be affected.
No, it won't be affected. You working on project or what? You working on project? Really? Yes. Okay. Yeah. I want to learn like Python on 7 years. Why? Because there's Google. I think that would be good. Maybe. So you want to work now? Okay. You want Python and 7 years. So I want to learn it like this month. And next week. Right. Oh, so sorry for that. Okay. Now we would go to the next challenge, which is compare and arrange. So I'm going to give us like 5 minutes for this. So then after that, we would solve it together. So in 5 minutes we'll come back and do it together.
question is a little bit complex, so probably when he's explaining it, we'll get it.
Okay, so let me introduce you to the question. Okay, so for one, um, we want to have like our own manual sort. So if you have like some numbers, random numbers, randomly generated numbers. So we're going to write we're going to write a program that can sort numbers and put them in ascending order. Like if you have like 2, 10, 1, 0, 100, so your code should be able to sort like 0, 1, 2, 100, something like that. So the reason why we are doing this exercise is to give you more hands-on session so that you can know how to think. Because honestly, from my own experience, not the language makes up the programmer, but the way you approach things, the way you solve problems. And also from my own
Yes.
experience, I figured out something. Like gone through so many several tutorials, like in several aspects of like my life and different applications. So I figured out that what people teach is they teach you how to use tools. Oh, how do you? What is an integer? What is a float? What is a control structure? What is a function? And at the end of the day, you have a challenge, you can't do it. So because we want to avoid that, so we're giving you the opportunity to work on something that would make you think a little bit, and they're going to be able to structure your thought and then turn it into code. So that approach would make you more efficient in just few weeks to few months, depending on your commitment. So that's the approach we're taking. So just read it, just try to understand what is it, and just attempt it. You don't have to get it, just attempt. Okay, can we have anybody who has tried it, so you can share your screen with us? Okay. Okay, so because we still have so many other things to do, especially like introduction to some other concepts, so we're going to go to the labs now and then try this out ourselves. So for one, what we want to do is to have like a sorting algorithm. So I'm going to start by asking the user for inputs. So yeah, someone is sending some messages in the chat box.
No, just encouraging people who are responding.
Okay, so we're going to create a number list. It's going to be an empty list. Next thing is we're going to ask the user to put in some numbers. So in very simple terms, I'm going to say maybe numbers is equals to um, now I'm going to cast my integers a little bit and ask the user for to enter the total number of elements. Next thing is now once the user enters that, so for each, so we're going to ask the user again to enter the number. So once again, I'm going to cast it. And I'm going to append the value into my number list. So before we continue, from making things complicated, let's run this. How many total numbers? 5.
Right.
Next thing is we enter the values. Say 8, 1, 5, 4. Let's put random numbers.
It's complete now.
So it's complete now. So if I print number list, so you can see elements there.
1, 4, 6, 3.
Do we all get this before we continue?
For taking you back, please, can you go over this again? Sorry, sir.
No, it's okay. There's nothing like there's no need to apologize, Mr. Nelson. The first thing is to create an empty list of numbers. Second thing is, normally we would use inputs to get the value from the user, but then usually we have to cast it. We have to convert it to an integer. So integer, open a bracket that is this big. Then I ask the user to enter the number of numbers they will be supplying. Okay. So for each number, maybe you enter 5. For I in range of number, Next thing is to get the value from the user. So also I'm also converting that value to an integer. Then I'm appending the value into the empty list. So that's all I've done.
Thank you, sir.
So I believe we all get that. So next thing is to complicate things.
Sorry, can I quickly point something out?
Yes.
Yeah, I think maybe the before this time, usually you use like value equals to input, please enter the value, and then after write another statement only to cast.
Yes.
Yeah, so I think it's a very good way to cast immediately while inputting.
Yes. So usually what we do, what we've been doing has been let me show you.
I just wanted to see if people noticed that so that they don't get confused.
So usually this is what we do, something like this. This is what we do. So we'll take in the input, then we cast it, we convert it to an integer. But this same process is same as writing this.
So you do the double process at once.
So yeah, so these two line of codes is converted to just one.
Shorter. This one is shorter. It's like having it. Initially, we have it as input, then we cast it into integer or
yes,
float or whatever.
So can I continue?
Yes, continue.
Okay, now the next thing is now we can now we've been able to populate our list. Next thing is for us to be able to sort. So we're going to do something. Please pay attention. So we're going to first of all loop over the numbers. Now we want to look towards the number. So you know what? For example, here that we have okay, so not to confuse you guys, so I'm going to cut this and put it. So now here that we have like 8, 1, 4, 6. So because we want to loop, we want to sort. So we'll compare the first number and the second number. So we'll compare. Is this one bigger than this one? No, keep it. Is this one bigger than this one? Yes. Bring this one here. Then you go again. The second one and third one. So this is what I mean. You want to compare this. If this is bigger than this, then one will come here, 8 will come here. The next one, you compare this. The next one, you compare this. The next one, you compare this. So that's the target, right? So the next thing we'll do here is okay. So write another for loop. Let's say for j, like nexted for j in range of I plus 1, and it's going to go to number. And if number list, now the number list of I, that is maybe we're looping, maybe this one, if this one is greater than the second value, we're starting second value from like +1. That means if maybe 8 is greater than 1, then swap them. So how do we swap? We create a temporary variable that takes in the big number. Next thing, we tell the first, like the big number, to hold the value of the small number. Then the second number becomes the temporary value. And that's it. So anyway, I would run this. So after running this, I'm going to print this again. So let's see what happens. Can we see that it's sorted?
I understand what we want to do, but I don't understand the code. This code can.
Okay, yes. Thank you so much for the comments. Next thing, we have 81463 that you entered yourself. Next thing is that we want to make sure that I said we want to compare the first number, second number. If the first number is greater than the second number, then we're going to create another third variable called temp. So that temp will hold the first number. Once it holds the first number, which is big, maybe 8, then we're going to now swap the second number to the first number.
First number.
Now the second number is empty. So the second number will not take that number that we held temporarily. That's it. So for example, if the number at I, that is the number that we are at the moment, is greater than the next number, J, then hold the first number
Yeah, swap the big out.
Okay.
And then replace it.
So that's it. So the code will be available for you to go over, and then yeah, you can always try things. We spent so much time. Then so let's just go about like 2 more concepts, and we call it a day. Then we introduce it to the exercises and projects. Then we call it a day. So another thing we would want to look at will be functions. So basically, functions are like more like there are methods that we will create to do a particular thing. So usually, if you want to start a function in Python, you start with the keyword def, the name of the function. Then the function can take in arguments, but it's optional. Then a function can also return an expression. Now, everything I just said, we should go and practice. We need to practice it in our demo. So I'm going to show us how to use functions now. Say for example, a is equals to 5 and b is equals to 7. And usually I want to keep adding this and pointing them out. Now this is like c is equals to a plus b, and want to write print c. So we have this 12. Say maybe this equals to 9, and E is equals to 12, and I want my F to be equals to D plus E. I want to print F. Now, because this additional process is a repetitive process, I can write a function for it. So I'm going to write a function. So I'm going to write def add, for example, and add will take in maybe X and Y. Then colon, enter. Then I'm going to write maybe Z equals to X plus Y. Then I'm going to write X plus Y. Then I'm going to write maybe if wanted to print out, so I could just write print Z without returning anything. So let's try this. Now this is not going to do anything. So now if you want to add there, maybe A is equals to 5, B is equals to 7, like we had before. Our D is equals to 9, E is equals to 12. So let's do this. Now add 7, comma, no, add A, comma B. Let's see what happens. 12. Add C, comma, add D, comma E. 21. So a function would automate a repetitive task for you. So you can call the function as many times as possible. So basically that is that. I think I can see some messages popping up. Let me check. Now do we get that? Okay. So Nelson, are you following?
I'm here. I'm here.
Yeah, thank you so much for the engagement. So you can also do this for subtract and any other thing that you want to do with function. So every other thing you can, like, so generally function is just you automating a process. That's it. So next we just want to introduce you to like object-oriented programming. So object-oriented programming is, I don't know if you've heard about it before. Next, have you heard of object-oriented programming before?
No, I've not.
Okay, so object-oriented programming is like is an approach towards programming such that you create instances of a class which is called an object, which has unique behaviors and attributes. So basically, in programming generally, there are 4 tenets for object-oriented programming, which is the abstraction, the polymorphism, the inheritance, and encapsulation. So they are very much advanced terms, but we will not focus much on defining them one after the other. So at the center of object-oriented programming are the classes. So what is a class? A class is like is you defining a very complex um a very complex um a very complex I wouldn't say object, because an object is an instance of a class. So you're defining a very complex tool in math in a Python, such that you can have different functions under your class. So when you define the class, then you can now create an instance of the class, which is an object. So not to confuse you, would give some instances. Say we're going to create a very much familiar class called animal. So we go back to uh, we go back to our lab. So you want to create a class, you go with the keyword class. Then we should create a class called animal, for example. So animal is our class. Then when you create the class, you put bracket. Then for our class, we can initialize and then say maybe the default that like we have like some default things that happen in our class. Say for example, okay, so now these are class. So you can create so many functions in our class. So say maybe our animal can walk, for example, walk. So here we're creating a function. So what does this do? So once you create this, it will say I'm walking. Then we can create another function under the class eat. And the class says I am eating. We create another function says play, and the class says I am playing. So let's see how this works. So now, how do we create an instance of a class, which is an object? Say dog. Dog is equal to animal. Now, after we create this, so we can say dog dot walk. Let's see what happens. Okay, now we're having issues. So for every method in a class, you put self. So for every method in a class, you put self inside. Self. So when you tell your dog to walk, your dog walks. So you can also tell your dog to eat. Yeah, so his dog says I'm eating. Now Nelson, do you get this class construct? Nelson.
I'm following.
Yeah, do you get the construct? Because I want to make it a little bit complicated now.
Can you come over it again? Sorry, I'm a little bit distracted.
Yeah, it's fine. So when you want to create a class, you create a class animal, like class, then the name of the class. Let's please hold on. So Nelson, so we create the class animal. So when you create a class, you put the bracket. So you can also put objects here.
Object.
but then it's not necessary. So when you create that, you cannot create like functions inside your class.
Okay.
See, functions inside
Yes.
your class. So your functions can do so many things. So we
Okay.
just created the functions.
Why do you put that self in front of?
No, the reason being, we want to make sure that we can get the object. Like when we create the object will have access to it. So we just type the self normally, self. So that's all we did. Now we want to complicate this a little bit. So we want to make sure that even when you create a class, you put in some things there. So now I'm going to do something. Now a class has a default function called init, like initialization. So we want to be able to initialize our class. So you put two underscore one two and you put initialize init, then put another two one two, then open self, the open self. So say for example, um say for example, uh, you when you create a class, you want to put the name exactly. Maybe name. You want to put maybe age. You want to put likes, for example. So you could come here and make it available and say self.name equals to name, self.age equals to age. So I'm going to just let me go the likes so that things don't get complicated. So instead of this, I am working.
Yes.
So we could make it more fun by saying maybe self. Now inside this function, if we need anything that has to do with the class, we use self to get it. So self dot maybe name, then we add a plus to make sure that it shows like it adds the other part of it. So we can do it again. So we can do it again. So let's say, so I'll put this maybe is
Yes.
is. So we should now try something. So now we want to create an animal. So the animal is maybe bingo, for example. So here we'll put bingo, bingo, and maybe the age is like 23. So now if you tell bingo to okay, wait, sorry. Yeah. So if you tell bingo to walk, for example,
So
see,
bingo is working.
bingo is walking. Now, yeah. So we told bingo to walk. You can see bingo is working. Now, what if you want to get the year of birth of bingo? So let's say def again get year of birth. Let's just say the date of birth of bingo. Hmm? So maybe uh, we want the year to be equals to 2021 minus the age of bingo, because that age we already declared it initially. So that will be self dot age. So print. Now I'm going to make this a little bit interesting. Self dot name, maybe bingo, maybe anything. plus a string is let's say was born in, I'm going to put another string plus, and I'm going to put year. So now I'm going to run this again. Bingo can walk, bingo can eat. So I could also say our dog dot get yeah. So you could see that okay.
No, integer. I think in the year you can cast it into string.
Yeah, thank you so much. So yeah, so you can see when the bingo was born. So these are many more things that you can do with a class. So yeah.
What was the function of that string that will str that will put at the back of a year that
Yes, we casted it the way we used to cast a string to an integer. So because we want to print, so it has to be in a string. So we had issues with it when we ran it the first time. So we had to make sure that we casted it. So that will be all for the classes. For everybody attending, would release the slides where you can try the app development challenge for a professor that wants to grade the students. And then so you input the name of the students and their scores. So the professor returns the name, the scores, and the grades. So you can put in your own metric for grading, and then you just write the program. So the outcome of it you can share with me, and then you keep practicing. Then also for the project, the first project is a palindrome. So the task is to check if a string is a palindrome or not. The second project is ANSHK Trip Society. So when you have like 6 friends, be able to rotate them at random for each month from January to June. So the slides will be available to you. If you want if you want to get feedback from us, from any of the challenges or the exercises, you can send it to us by June 11, and we'll be glad to help you out in case you have issues. So once again, coding is by learning, is by trying, doing something. So if you ever get stuck, Stack Overflow is there for you. If you want to learn more about some concepts, you can go to W3 schools. Kaggle also has a self-learn a Python course. Then also you can go to tutorialspoint.com to also learn more about Python. Um, this lecture is recorded as the part one of the bootcamp, and the video link will also be made available. Also, the slides and would be made available. Then I'm not sure if there's going to be an exam or not. It depends on people who show interest. So that will be all. What next? You practice everything you've learned so far. You attempt the project and you solve more problem. So at this point, we wish you good luck, and then thank you for participation.
Thank you so much, sir. Today is the first day, right?
Today is the second day. We have the first day, but then we can always share with you.
Share the video.
Saturday.
Let me drop my email again. So I would like to have the video and the slides and every materials.
So my email is there. You can also contact any of the 3 facilitators. Also, they will be ready and happy to help you out with anything you have.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah,
I will mail you then. I will mail you. I will send an email to you.
Okay, okay, all right. Thank you so much. Have a nice day. So now I'm going to stop the recording.
Thank you so much, everyone.